Hello, Serious Survivor here, and today we're going to look at 10 long-term supplies that are necessary for a long-term grid down or a permanent grid down situation. The goal of this video is not to talk about or rehash the fact that we need a lot of food, we need water purification, we need firearms, and all of the basic supplies that we normally think about. I'm looking at things right here that some people may not think about, and this is geared towards those who are bugging in their location, not those who are bugging out, because you won't be able to carry all this with you, obviously. But for those that are bugging in, these are 10 things that we should have in place to give us the best chance of survival. But first, a word from our sponsors. Friends, I'm very concerned about food shortages coming to America. No, not local or short-lived shortages. I'm talking about a national food shortage that will affect everyone, everywhere for a very long time. Would you be ready if that happened? Probably not. That's why I urge you to get some long-term storage emergency food from my friends at My Patriot Supply. They're the original Patriot Survival Company. Over the past decade, they've served millions of American families just like yours. Their mission is your survival, and right now you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day, probably soon. This 4-week kit has a wide variety of delicious food that provides over 2,000 calories a day, the right amount for optimum survival. Go to preparewithSeriousSurvivor.com so you can claim your 4-week emergency food kit and save 25% in the process. Order a tasty starter kit for each member of your family, and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your front door. That's preparewithSeriousSurvivor.com. These are in no particular order, so let's get started. Number 1, cloth. And when I say cloth, I actually mean cloth that's not been made into anything yet. Having rolls of cloth or tubes of cloth that you can purchase from a lot of different stores is going to be beneficial in the long run for multiple reasons. You can use this cloth for a lot of different things. One of the things would be to cover the windows in your home if you're bugging in and your higher story floors, if you don't want to board all those up. Then having cloth, you can do things such as make sheets out of it. You can even have someone, if they're skilled enough, to make clothes out of this in the long term, to repair clothes you have, to repair your backpacks. Having extra cloth around will come in handy, and it can also be used to do things for home defense, such as making sandbags and filling them up with it. So I do recommend having a decent amount of cloth put to the side. Number 2, have enough perimeter gear for any booby traps or perimeter alarms that you're thinking about setting. And this could be the solar lights, the solar powered lights, or it could be the small battery powered window alarms, the different types of things that we would use to secure our perimeter. I've got a couple of videos on perimeter security like that list specific items, but it's not enough to think about perimeter security if we don't actually go out and buy the things we need right now, because we won't be able to find most of these once it's all said and done. And you can usually get this stuff pretty cheap at your local dollar stores or things like that. Number 3, seeds. But not just seeds. If you're bugging in a location, make sure that you have enough fertilizer, make sure that you have enough chemicals if you need them for the type of soil that you're in, and maybe even some extra potting soil so that if conditions do not allow you to grow the seeds outside, you stand a chance of possibly growing them in a greenhouse or something to that effect. But having seeds is going to be extremely important, and that's going to be the determining factor, of course, as to whether or not you will be able to grow food from there on out. Ammunition, and when I refer to ammunition, of course, this goes back to one of the basic things, but I'm talking here more about the ability to make it. And that would be the gunpowder, the cases, the primers, the bullets themselves. And having these and the ability to make it, along with the press and the correct dyes to produce the bullets, is going to be extremely beneficial, because you can store these components in a much smaller area than you store the finished ammunition that's put in boxes. And that's not to mention the fact that this can even be used for other things. For the gunpowder, for example, can be used for alternative means if necessary. So having the ability to manufacture ammunition or reload your own, having the components to do it's a very important thing, because just having the knowledge, I know how to do it right now, but if I don't have the components on hand, I'm certainly not going to find them in a grid down situation. Number 5, an extensive tool set. And this is going to be something that it includes all the tools that you're going to need for any type of carpentry repair around your home, any type of electrical repair, any type of minor plumbing you may have to do, any type of structural work. A good set of tools for a bug-in location is a must, because without the tools, we're going to be at a loss for a lot of things. And having these tools, and these are gardening tools too, auto tools, home repair tools, having a very good set of tools is going to make it that much easier to make the defense changes or defense setups that you need to make around your perimeter, and to secure your home, and to make repairs if your home is attacked, because once your home is attacked, there would be damage done, and without the proper tools and supplies, you wouldn't be able to repair this damage. Which leads into number 6. Fencing and home repair materials. I realize that we can't store, an entire Lowe's store at our home, but we can store enough material to keep it on hand that we could make the basic repairs. And these are things like concrete, sandbags, wood, fence, chain link fence. Keep enough wood on hand that you can at least board up and secure the doors on the bottom floor of your house. And any other materials that you can stockpile that will be good defensive choices, then these should be stockpiled. If we're bugging in, then there really isn't a limit to what we can store, except for just how big your property is. And the more you have, the easier it's going to be to secure your area and to defend your area. Number 7, have a scavenging kit. A scavenging kit I go more in detail on in my urban scavenging videos, but having a kit that you can take with you, a bag with supplies basically similar to a bug out bag in size, but different in the equipment list. Having this kit or this set of supplies that you can take with you when you're scavenging for supplies is going to make the job a lot easier. So have one of these scavenging kits and have it made up and ready. Not your normal tools that you would take with you and you're just going to put them in a bag when you go, but have this kit that's kept separate so that you can just grab it and go if necessary. Number 8, books. If we are bugging in, then we can have basically a library of all types of books that are necessary. And when I talk about books, I'm talking about things like home repair manuals, vehicle repair manuals, edible plants, survival skill manuals, military manuals. Any type of book that's survival related or skill related at some point in time is going to come in handy, because we don't memorize every skill we've ever heard about. Some we know about, some things we know about and we're sort of familiar with, but without some of the details that we would get from reading about it or actually learning it, then it's going to be hard to perform some of the tasks. Having a set of books that can step you through some of these processes is going to be not just a time saver, but could even be a lifesaver. Number 9, canning equipment. Canning and preserving our food will be very important in a grid down scenario, especially if it's permanent or very long term for several years, because having the ability to preserve your foods so that you have food to eat through the winter could make the difference between life and death for a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about the ability to can. A lot of people know how to do it, but if we don't have the equipment ahead of time, then I'm not going to be able to preserve anything until I'm able to locate that equipment in a grid down situation, which might be very difficult to do. And number 10, if you're going to use solar power or any alternative means of power, then for lighting, one of the things that I don't hear talked about much is light bulbs themselves. And we know that solar panel can give us lighting if we have the right equipment. But at some point in time, if this is long term, those light bulbs are going to begin to burn out. And if I don't have at least a decent amount of them put back in storage, then I'm literally going to be left in the dark when the bulbs do run out. So this was just a quick look at 10 things that we need to store. I feel like we need to store if we're going to plan on bugging in. Some people, their plan is to bug in, some is to bug out, and that's going to be different for everyone. But if you are bugging in, then the 10 things we talked about here are definitely necessary. Now there's always more we can add to this list, there's always more we can talk about, but check out the links in the description below. I have some more detailed videos on some of these subjects. But I hope the video helps out. Thanks a lot for watching. God bless, and for now, Serious Survivor out.